Look off the coast of major shipping hubs today, and you might just see a massive floating traffic jam. Driven by a massive surge in global e-commerce, dozens of large container ships are often left idling in the water, loaded with billions of dollars of goods, with nowhere to dock. This squeeze comes down to three compounding pressures hitting all at once. First, sheer volume. Consumers are buying more goods than the system was ever built to handle. Second, a severe lack of qualified dock workers and truck drivers to actually move that cargo. And third, unpredictable weather conditions, like severe storms or fog that can instantly halt operations. This map shows how a single stalled node triggers a massive chain reaction. The delay spreads outward, snapping global supply chains. A backlog at one terminal delays ships destined for another, paralyzing local economies on multiple continents simultaneously. Preventing this chain reaction falls entirely on a highly specialized discipline, port and terminal management. This is the strategic planning, logistical coordination, and daily oversight dedicated entirely to keeping these massive choke points clear. A seaport is a sensitive, high-speed machine. Its continuous, flawless operation is the only barrier keeping international trade moving and preventing total economic gridlock. This archival photo shows Sydney Harbor, a classic example of a natural port. The management strategy for any global hub begins with its baseline geography. Sheltered coastlines like this one naturally protect vessels from rough seas, providing a ready-made safe haven for docking. By contrast, this image highlights the scale of a completely man-made port. Lacking natural coves, planners have to construct massive breakwaters, pour acres of concrete into the ocean, and continuously dredge deep channels to create safe approaches. But regardless of whether a port is carved by nature or built by humans, the interior is divided into highly specific zones called terminals. Mixing different types of cargo causes immediate delays, so each terminal is uniquely designed to keep specific goods flowing without crossing paths. Take a look at this container terminal. These zones require an enormous spatial footprint and rely on those massive yellow gantry cranes. Their sole purpose is to pluck standardized steel boxes off decks and drop them seamlessly onto waiting trucks or trains. Liquid and bulk terminals operate entirely differently. Instead of cranes, a liquid terminal handling oil uses a complex network of heavy-duty pipelines and pumps. Meanwhile, bulk terminals rely on specialized ship loaders and conveyor belts to continuously pour loose commodities directly into a ship's hold. A port's baseline ability to process cargo quickly is strictly defined by these physical layouts. How intelligently planners map these distinct, purpose-built terminals onto their available geography dictates whether a facility will thrive or choke under pressure. Guiding these massive footprints requires multiple layers of authority. At the highest level, national and regional governments usually own the physical land. They set the international trade regulations and supply the heavy funding required for major structural expansions. This organizational chart shows how daily control is delegated to a port authority. Under the CEO, the work is strictly divided. Notice the Harbor Masters Division on the right. They directly coordinate maritime safety and daily operations, ensuring ships securely connect to land-based transport. Yet, no matter how efficient this structure is on paper, the people running the port are in a constant battle against rigid physical limits. One major point of friction is outdated infrastructure. As shipping companies build newer, massive megaships to carry more goods, many older ports simply lack the deep-water berths or the modern heavy-lift cranes needed to actually unload them. Add spatial limitations to the mix, like thousands of empty containers taking up valuable yard space. When you combine that lack of storage with external shocks, like a sudden strike or a severe storm, these friction points compound rapidly. Port management is a relentless engineering battle. Teams constantly maneuver around these compounding physical restrictions to prevent the facility from grinding to a complete halt. To gauge who is winning that battle, operators rely on strict mathematical scorecards. The baseline metric is throughput, simply measuring the total volume of cargo, usually tracked in 20-foot equivalent units, or TEUs, that a port successfully handles over a month or a year. This diagram breaks down an even more critical metric, vessel turnaround time. This tracks the total hours a ship spends from arrival to departure. It's segmented into the waiting time at anchor, the berthing process, and the actual cargo handling. The Port Authority primarily controls that final segment. By pushing crane and labor productivity to the absolute limit, they can maximize the speed of cargo handling, rapidly shrinking the total hours a vessel sits at the dock. But the vessel operators carry equal weight here. If a ship arrives off schedule or arrives with poor stowage plans that make unloading difficult, the waiting time segment explodes. No matter how fast the port's cranes operate, the total turnaround time is destroyed. Shaving even a few hours off these turnarounds saves millions of dollars in operating costs. Achieving that level of profitability demands absolute minute-by-minute synchronization between the teams managing the concrete on land and the crews operating the vessels at sea. Because ports cannot endlessly dredge deeper channels or pave over more coastline, they are hitting physical limits. To push past them, authorities are turning to intense digital transformation, effectively expanding their capacity using software rather than steel. Modern management networks now rely heavily on real-time data feeds and application programming interfaces, or APIs. By continuously monitoring market trends and port activity, operators can anticipate surges, pinpointing specific containers and routing trucks around congestion before it even forms. These automated systems can also instantly calculate the most efficient ways to reposition thousands of empty containers. By clearing out that dead weight in real time, they free up crucial yard space the second it's needed for incoming freight. A modern maritime port is a highly engineered digital pressure valve. From the layout of the gantry cranes to the code tracking the cargo, every single minute is aggressively optimized. That relentless optimization is what keeps international trade flowing and ultimately keeps the modern world running.